For Monday, June 8th, 2015, this is episode 32 of the Riff Table Arcade. As always, I'm your host for this week's episode, 60-Minute Jeff, and as always, joining me for this week's episode is the head of this group, FighterXaos.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, we're missing somebody.
Yeah, there's a reason why, and it's basically based off of the topic that we were talking about, which is Fallout-centric, which our buddy Kyle, RRPG, he's not keen, but he's not too knowledgeable in the franchise, if that's the proper term.
Same thing, I wouldn't join if you were talking about, say, which game I don't play, that I don't hate, but I don't know anything about, like...
Well, if it was before you got The Witcher 3, I would say The Witcher.
Yeah. If it was before Witcher... Or I was going to say Silent Hill, but even then...
That's true, but then you did play
I do know some, yeah. But
I got one, Halo.
Halo. There you go,
yeah.
Perfect. It would be the same thing. That's why Double R isn't here. I know jack about Halo's story.
Yeah, now for Halo, on the other hand, I would bring on my good buddy, Dane, also known as Omega Mario on YouTube.
And he would be a, what'd you call it? Confirmed what's the word?
Replacement?
Yeah, replacement. But I was thinking of an adjective. When you approved, he would be an approved replacement. Yes.
God, our brains are not working.
Yeah,
today.
Our brain. The last time we recorded was what? The last one went up a week ago, but we recorded it when really?
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Almost 2 weeks ago.
And then they just come out of this weekend where I had a friggin' long weekend.
Yeah. Well, it's more to the fact, and I'm sorry for the shameless plugging, but our brains are more focused on what's coming up on the week, which is the start of the E3 2015 stream that me and the others do each and every year. And the Sunday is going to be Bethesda, which I think is timely because we are going to be talking about the recently unveiled Fallout 4 trailer that was released 2 days ago? It was it was around 2 to 3 days ago.
Yeah, recently.
Before that, let's get into what's been going on recently. How have you been?
Well, I just came, like I said, I had a long weekend, because I had Friday I was out, Saturday I was at a barbecue, and then I was out again for something else, on top of the barbecue. Sunday was yesterday, and was out again, and doing grocery shopping on top of that. And I didn't get a lick of sleep in Sunday either. I don't know why.
Oh, jeez.
I fell asleep. This is rare for me. I know you told me sometimes, when your brain just doesn't want to shut up.
Yeah.
That happened to me last night, and I didn't fall asleep till about 7.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I went to bed at 1 or 2. I didn't fall asleep until my brain wouldn't shut up.
Oh, jeez.
I just finally fell asleep when my brain just finally stopped talking.
Oh, wow.
For some reason, the hormone song, F, was just going on loop, too. If you guys watched Resurrection Frieza, there's that hard rock song, or metal, whatever it is.
Yeah, it was the second trailer, if that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that was on loop in my head. I was like, oh. Yeah. Anyways, so long weekend, so it's like...
Well, on my end, the only thing I've been doing besides, first off, I got three new games courtesy of a trip to Best Buy, and those games were all from my Xbox One, and they were physical copies of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, DOA 5 Last Round, and Halo the Master Chief Collection. Funny thing about Master Chief Collection, in most places besides Best Buy, and I also think about in regards to GameStop, because it's a specialty video game place. That game is still going for $60, whereas Best Buy, the week I got it for, it was on sale for $25. But besides that, the only thing I've been doing on my on my end has been nothing but the current summer sale that's been going on GOG Galaxy.
Dude, you have been on a roll. You said you spent more money on this than in the past, what?
Yes,
year?
I have. I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed. Here's the reason why. In the long haul, I've seen how much I've saved, and it's in hundreds. I'm not even joking. Like, I've gotten so much.
That's true. That's very true. In the long haul, that's true.
No, but from the deals I've seen that, intrigue me, I see these as better deals than even Steam themselves. But again, we won't know until next week, ironically, which is when we're doing our thing for E3, when they're supposedly doing their Steam sale for the summer. But I gotta say, this not only trumps last year's summer sale for GOG, but it's on par with Steam, and I think it's hilarious that they were the ones out first to compete with Steam. This is the thing I like about Galaxy, that they're actually going to compete with Steam, which is something that the PC space, I don't know about you, but really needs. Because there's really no competition in regards to Steam. And mind you, I'm not saying this because I hate Steam. No, I like it. I use it. But in regards to other things besides, sales, I like Galaxy more because of its user interface, because of how, cleaner it is to navigate, that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've seen the user interface for Steam, but yeah.
Well, I have.
It's a cluttered mess.
I've seen it on PC and on Mac.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just and watch us get negative views just because of me saying that about Steam. You know it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
You know it's going to happen. But enough about us. Let's get into today's topic, which is on Fallout 4 and the recent reveal trailer for the game. First off, we like to mention that game was not pre-rendered, but in fact, it was using assets from in-game. That game is what's going to be looking like in engine when it's released, hopefully this year.
My guess is they have not said, but my guess is this year. Because Bethesda has this thing that I actually applaud them for, which is not trying to hype you up way before launch with like pre-rendered cutscenes
and no, it's not Ubisoft.
And years before its launch,
like what happened with Watch Dogs, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that was originally revealed 2 years ago. And then when we saw it the year before, it was like after the year before, or the year was supposed to launch, it looked like utter crap on
current. You saw
the
real graphics, you're like, what?
Yeah.
What happened?
And that's
what I give Bethesda props for. Even though people, of course, I want to just touch on it. I don't want to stay on it too long.
Go right ahead. I know.
But some of our people, even people we respect usually, are saying things about Fallout 4's graphics, saying it should look better and it's next gen. Despite I don't know how long this game has been in development, which probably was before these new systems launched. And one of our, like I said, one of our people, one of them even said something that I did not expect them to say, especially since they've said the opposite before, which is that they would actually sacrifice gameplay for better graphics in this game. I'm like,
no.
Do you not know what Fallout's about?
Or just any generic, open world sandbox game to begin with.
I thought it was about the open world and what you can do. Not about...
I mean, look at GTA, for example, with the original PS3 and 360 versions. Look at Sleeping Dogs. Yeah, they look better, but they were more detailed because, yeah, they were open, but they weren't on the same scale of openness where you see, like in, say, Skyrim or even Fallout 3 or even New Vegas. You know what I mean?
Also, since the first Fallout, graphics were never a thing, because the first Fallout came out, they made the graphics like that because they wanted it to run on more PCs. They're thinking about performance here when they made this game. And besides that, the graphics don't bug me anyways. They don't look terrible. They don't look like dog crap. I mean,
and here's the thing: this game has been in development since right out of the gate when they were done with the main game, which was 2008, right?
Yep. So it was way before we got these good graphics.
They went into early pre-production back in 2009 at least, but they didn't really start ramping the actual game development until the release of Skyrim, right? Which was back in 2011. So in actual total, that was like what, 4 years in development?
At least.
So they must have originally started this game originally as a PS3 360 title. And then right when they found out about these next-gen consoles coming out soon at the time, that's when they changed it. So that's also another reason why that people need to realize that the in-game graphics look like that, because they clearly must have changed the versions, you know what I mean?
Also, I also like this because it means it can run on more PCs for the PC gamers. I'd rather have it run than look pretty. Which, again, it doesn't look bad from...
No. And it's funny you bring that up, because I'm wondering if the oldest OS that can run on Windows computers, would it be either XP or Vista? Because that's a good question.
That's a very good question.
Performance level, but again, it's a good thing you bring it up. And to clarify, it's just I don't get it for myself or Jerry's and know why that's such a big a deal. When you look at the majority of Bethesda's games, and when I mean Bethesda, I mean Bethesda Game Studios, the actual developer of both Elder Scrolls and the Fallout main titles, that they always cater more to the art direction of the game rather than the graphical fidelity of a game itself.
True.
They would rather have their art design speak for the game itself instead of a fancy new graphics engine. I mean, why do you think freaking Skyrim was buggy as hell when it first came out?
Yeah. Also, get this. You mentioned art design. This is another thing. People are like, it looks cartoony. Since when is Fallout realistic?
Well, when they tried to... because this was still in the mentality of where we were in the industry where, post-apocalyptic means nothing but dull and gray. You know what I mean? We were still in that motif.
Speaking of dull and gray, yeah, that's another thing. Since when do nuclear bombs explode colors? As you've seen in Fallout 3, compared to 4.
Sorry for that small delay. There's been a little issue on our end where we live due to large gusts of winds going on outside. But I just want to bring it up with you here, like elongated pauses during this episode. But continue what you were saying, Jerry.
I believe, if I remember correctly, and I know our viewers will correct me, but I believe I was talking about the cartoonish looks, how some people were complaining that it looks cartoonish. Oh yeah, I do remember now. I mentioned that it's like, since when was Fallout ever realistic? and that's when you were going to say something, but that whole finagle happened. I said,
well, like I was saying earlier, like with Bethesda Game Studios titles, whether it's from their own IP with Elder Scrolls or even the acquired IP that is Fallout from Interplay back in 2004, ever since their introduction in regards to ideal of game making, it's never been graphics over the other important things that make a game. It's been, the other important things that make a game over graphics. Like, it does have good graphic fidelity, don't get me wrong, but they put more care into the art direction. They care more about story, more about music, everything else besides the graphical look of a game. You know what I mean? I mean, if you want to prove, go look at the mods that have been made for not only Fallout 3, but especially for New Vegas. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And even for a really old game like from Morrowind. I mean, look at Morrowind. Look at Oblivion, especially a 2-year-old game nowadays with Skyrim with mod support. They look better than the in-house engines that were made respectively throughout the years from Bethesda themselves. You know what I mean? But that's why I want to bring up the fact regards to the main developer for both Elder Scrolls and Fallout's respective ideology in regards to gaming is that they put more effort into art direction over graphics, whereas
exactly.
most developers and publishers, let's be honest, are the complete opposite. You know what I mean?
True.
But besides about that little...
But that was all... Yeah, I didn't want to spend too much time on it. We said our piece, basically.
Yeah. So it was just elongated because of that long pause.
Yeah, it was just that. It's just... Yeah. Sorry about... Well,
Again, it's out of our control. It's just because of the weather on our end recently.
Out of our hands.
Before news at the time. But let's get into the actual discussion of the game itself, shall we?
Yes. What do we know about this game?
Well, first off, we've been knowing some of the stuff for the last couple of years thanks to a legit leak from, of all places, Kotaku. And it was an interesting leak, too, because it wasn't like from how we usually get leaks from actual shots from an in-game, an actual in-game screenshot like you see from a game, like, say, from the recent leak of Dark Souls 3, supposedly, from the Rooster Teeth to Know. This was from actual documents from a third party that was in part, that had a play in the part of, I think voice actors in regards to dialogue for Fallout 4?
It was a script.
Yeah.
It was a script for the game.
And we're gonna get to this in a little bit longer in the episode, but it shows in the dialogue this is where our first clue, maybe in fact, that the character that we saw, the dweller from Vault 111, which is new and is officially located in Boston, Massachusetts, maybe the first ever playable protagonist in the Fallout series to be fully voiced. Or voiced at all.
Well, hey, you said we'll get into that later. Yeah.
Later, yeah. I just want to bring that up because...
Oh, you just want to bring it... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because if you saw the leaked, the leaked scripture that was released to Kotaku from the unnamed source.
He had lines.
There was there was a narrator, and the narrator was supposedly the playable character that you're going to be playing in Fallout 4, which in case is the the Vault Dweller from Vault 111. And like we stated, Vault 111 is not on the new location of where you start, obviously like you did in Fallout 3. This vault is also located in Boston, Massachusetts, which has been confirmed, again, from that leak, because that's where we found out where the location was going to be, even before the leak, if I recall, right? Because if I recall... Because if I recall, before the leak, and it was also from Kotaku, that they heard from supposed sources that there were people from Bethesda, looking around and taking photos of MIT in Boston.
Right, yeah. Yeah, they did mention that they were doing their research on Boston.
Because I don't know if people know about...
Frack, that might explain some of the people I saw last year.
Yeah. It would, but... if people don't know in regards to
lore, Bethesda employee, I probably was mean too.
And specifically to the lore of Fallout 3, specifically, MIT is known in that universe as the Institute, and the Institute is not only supposedly able to play a larger role in this game, but it played somewhat of a big role, not in the main quest. Yeah, in Fallout 3, not in the main quest of Fallout 3, but the side quest. One of the side quests was heavily involved in the Institute. I don't want to spoil it. Granted, it's a 7-year-old game now, and jeez.
I was gonna say, are you sure? I was about to spoil it right then until you said that.
Well, to be fair, there's a lot. I imagine there's a lot of people that have played
Kyle.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
RPG, the guy who set this out because of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But does he matter? No, just kidding. Love you, Double R. Seriously, you would keep this channel alive.
Yep, that's true.
Granted,
but yeah,
I've been able to pull my weight a little bit more, but.
But I'll just say this, in one of the side quests, there's a major revelation that is involved with the Institute, which is located in Boston, Mass, which is the main location of Fallout 4's story and plot, and just the overall game. That's what we kind of know so far, and the thing that we found out, too, that we know a little bit of, going besides the voice character at the end of that trailer, was a pre-war prologue. We've always heard, even from Fallout 1, way back from 1997, Black Isle Studio, we've heard from various characters from both Black Isle's games, the original developers of the franchise, and from Bethesda's take of what life was before the bombs dropped in 2077 in that universe. What the pre-war life was, but we never saw it.
Yeah.
Until now, possibly, because there was that weird and very good,
Are we on the facts or what we think we know?
I think what we know.
We already finished, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. We're on the part where what we pretty much believe but hasn't been confirmed, but we pretty much believe to be true.
And I'm sorry I didn't bring that up, ladies and gentlemen, is because we know little to none of what factually is going to be in this.
There's one fact that just popped up on Reddit just now.
Okay, which one was that?
Which is what we are, again, it's one of those things we thought we knew and it's just been confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that, yeah, there's going to be, of course, playable, it's going to be playable at E3.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Which... Okay,
I mean, of course, they weren't going to show the trailer once more to E3, right?
Exactly.
And I'd like to bring that up. Thank you for bringing it up, because we want to bring up something that was speculative that also originated from Reddit, and you sent it to me, too. I forget what the person's name, supposed name was.
Oh, yeah, the Sandra Reed.
But, yeah, Sandra Lee. This person was supposedly a former worker from Bethesda, and she supposedly had this... timeline of what Fallout 4 was going to come out, what was going to be available for, and she also made up something saying that there was going to be another spin-off game akin to what happened with New Vegas, and that was being developed by Obsidian, but this time around the spin-off would be developed by Behavior Interactive, which was, I'm thankful it was found out to be false, because I can tell you one thing, if that was true, that was a horrible decision.
I'm also glad that it was false, because one other thing she said, which is, you can only play as a male, and I was like, what? That's, what?
Here's the thing, if it's true that it was going to be focused more on story, I wouldn't mind, but if they found a way to actually include both...
No, they already proved that.
You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. But they did already prove that,
which I'm glad they did,
you can't play as a female.
Which I'm glad they came out and
because
said,
there was like we talked about the voice thing, which pretty much is all but confirmed.
Yep.
Like you said, what we think this is our all but confirmed part that isn't confirmed, but we know. Like the voice actor you're mentioning, he not only is the script a big reveal, but in the trailer itself, he said, "Let's go, pal," right?
Yeah.
To the dog. And also, they said that there was going to be that the casting call was for male and female.
Female.
Those lines.
It's funny you bring that up, too, because I forgot there was one thing I like to mention, too. It's speculation, but there is maybe some truth to it. Do you remember the last episode of IGN's Up at Noon when Greg Miller was hosting his final episode?
Gosh, I think I do. Yeah.
It was featuring Troy Baker and was having
yeah.
Of him. I don't know if you remember, but you remember... I think you remember this, but this was where Troy said that he was working on something that was going to be either unveiled, released, or both for this year.
Uh-huh.
You cannot tell me that stock male character's voice sounded a lot like Troy Baker's voice, like natural voice.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It may be superfluous, but it does hold some... It could be true, you know what I mean? Because he did say that he was doing a role that was secret at the time. And mind you, this episode, if I recall correctly, was from January, February of this year, like literally the start of this year. And we just found out about Fallout's actual existence, actually being unveiled this past week. So I'm just throwing it out there because it could be true, it could not, but we'll only know until this Sunday, right? But getting back to the actual facts not the facts, the speculative parts of this game. Like we said, the pre-war prologue, this is the first because, we said.
Do you think it's going to be playable, or do you think it's just going to show
the way the camera was moving?
Yeah.
The way the camera was moving, I think it's going to be playable. I do think it's going to be playable.
Here's what I think. I think it's like what people. Some of the rumors were saying that it's. I'm of the camp that believes that you're frozen, and that you wake up again.
Yeah.
You think so too, or?
Here's the thing: I don't really think it's that, but if they're going to be more towards the pre-war, and if it being a prologue to the game, I think that's going to be the tutorial.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be the tutorial, the pre-war part. But do you think that the character you play is going to be the same one? Like, I'm thinking you're going to be frozen, but there's also the other camp that, and it's also just as legit of a rumor, is that you're playing that character's descendant.
You know what? I was going to say the way it could go either 50-50, but to be completely honest, I'm hoping that you're playing the designated father or designated mother from that time in Frozen. Because here's the thing: if they go with the descendant, I don't know. Sorry about that once again, ladies and gentlemen. There was a small delay again because, like I said, we've been having pretty bad weather outside at the moment. But like I was saying before the drop, if they went with the you being the descendant, in regards to Fallout 3's prologue and the tutorial portion, I mean, I feel like they want to do something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, both I believe. I just would prefer the Frozen one, like you. Yeah.
It makes more sense because it'll feel different. Like,
does, yeah.
This is a new entry. Like, I don't feel like they want to copy something again that they already did in the last entry.
Exactly. Granted,
the last entry was 7 years ago, but still.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Still repeating yourself, though. If you
like, again, I wouldn't mind, but I think it'll be a better telling they went for either the designated mother or father's, point of view from pre-war, and then potentially getting cryo frozen and waking up, 200 years after the bombs dropped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want. That's what I'm guessing. I'm not going to be surprised if it is a descendant thing, but I feel like the Frozen thing is what they're going for. I hope, rather, it's what they go for.
Yeah, and I feel like it could also be the designated father and mother portion too, because I'm with that camp more as well too, but I'll be fine with either.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that we look at the guy we look at the the vault order when he says, "Let's go, boy." It looks just like the father that was shown.
Exactly, he does. Yep.
Granted, that could be the descendants of the parents pre-war, but at the same
he looks
time,
a little too much like the dad,
Exactly, that's where I'm coming from. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Speculative. I don't know what'll happen, but I imagine that Iron Zur will be coming back to do the actual in-game music.
Probably.
To compose.
The ambient music, yeah.
Yes. The only thing I hope it is, instead of the way they went with Fallout 3, with the in-game ambient music, I hope it's not only Iron Zur, but I hope Mark Morgan comes back to co-compose the soundtrack with him.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because here's the thing, longer than Jerry. I'm not saying this, just to show, to say that I prefer Fallout 1 and 2's soundtracks over Fallout 3, mainly due to the fact that
freaking Fallout 1 and 2 soundtracks, yo,
was more atmospheric.
Those were, you took the words out of my mouth. I forget, I got nothing else to say.
Yeah, but I just want to clarify that, you know what I mean?
No, it's very... Dude, 1, just from the start of 1, of part 1, that music puts you right in the mood of what that game was about. That creepy computer typing.
Yeah, and I want to clarify that, Fallout 3's, theme and the accompanied ambient music was not bad. It was good. But it didn't feel like a Fallout game to me, especially where I grew up with. You know what I mean?
If you if you let the ambient music play in New Vegas, some spots you would hear 1 and 2 music. Again, because it's Obsidian, right?
Yes. And that's why I'm hoping too that I hope, granted, developers Bethesda Game Studios, but I hope they take the notion.
Yeah.
I hope they take the notion of actually getting Mark Morgan to come back and team up once more with Iron Zur to make a more atmospheric soundtrack and more in line with 1 and 2 in New Vegas than what we got with 3. You know what I mean? And from what we've heard from the trailer, granted it's a rearranged version of the Fallout 3 main theme, but it sounds more atmospheric than the original version did from the 7-year-old title from, originally from Bethesda.
It's crazy how much even editing can change something so much. And because you're right, even though it's the same theme pretty much, they edited it in a way that felt more appropriate to the game. to the series, rather, as a whole. Just look at Fallout. I mean, not Fallout. Just look at Star Wars: The Phantom Edit. Way better.
Yeah, that's true.
Just from editing.
And I know there's those people that actually like the Phantom Menace, and we're not saying there's nothing wrong to be that way.
You can like it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I will agree with him. For someone who thought it was an alright movie, that, if you know, fan edit was a way better film.
Just power of editing. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people. That's why some people say the editor is on par with the director.
Oh, true.
But go ahead. Sorry, that's a whole other tangent.
Yeah, no, that is a whole other topic for another time.
That is whatever the Ikari cast will become.
Very much. But yes,
we're talking
in
about
regards to Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Well, not the soundtrack, but I also want to go into the actual meat we were just talking about before we went to soundtrack, and that's the story.
Right.
And that's more importantly with the writing team. Because
do we know who they are?
Jerry, you started the Fallout series with Fallout 3.
Yeah.
And you thought it was all right.
I did. I of course. Well, I liked it enough to admit that it made me.
The DLC. I'll say this. You and I will agree, even as someone who got introduced to Fallout 3, you thought it was a weak story, right?
Yeah. Especially before the DLC.
I will give Bethesda this. The DLC.
Yeah.
Way better.
Oh yeah.
Way better.
Broken Steel is good. The only one I didn't like was Mothership Zeta.
Yes.
I hated that one.
But
or maybe
it was the weakest. It was the weakest. I will say that, but it was still a better experience than the main story.
Because I didn't think it was trash.
Right.
It just felt so weird and like it was like this became a whole nother thing.
Exactly. Yes, I get where you're coming from, but the reason why I'll say this
story, right?
New Vegas was a bugging mess, and I mean that's something that Obsidian's obliviously known for since their first game.
New Vegas was the very first game,
which was KOTOR 2, the Sith Lords.
New Vegas was the very first game that crashed on my PS3.
Yep.
I never had a game straight up send me back to the XMB before until that game.
I know.
I was like, what? I know. I didn't know that could happen.
I know. But in all seriousness, while that game was even glitchier than the atypical Bethesda Game Studios game, which is irony in itself when you think about it.
Yeah.
There's one bright spot besides the soundtrack that was accompanied by Bob Einzer and Mark Morgan. The one thing that I thought was phenomenally done on the game was the story. Yeah. Granted, the story idea was taken from the original idea from Van Buren, which was the original Fallout 3 by Black Owl.
Which is why off mic I tell you, I call New Vegas 3 and 3 Capital Wasteland.
It would have been better.
That's what I would have done.
Honestly, that would have been better.
Especially like you said, how I got introduced to 3. Then when I played New Vegas, it went back to 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then saw Van Buren, but just even from 1 and 2, without even seeing what was Van Buren, I was like, wait a minute, New Vegas actually feels like the sequel here.
and another reason why I want to get the writers from Obsidian back to do the story, I also
aren't most of them straight up former.
Yeah, from Black Isle. Yes,
yeah.
Some of them were from there since day one of the development of Fallout 1. And that was back in 1997. But I also want to accompany this too is the fact that I would like to see them have some of their ideas used in the main game's development, because I've been a long time fan of this franchise, and even though I liked Fallout 3, I didn't feel like it had something much of a departure, because to me it felt like Fallout but with an Elder Scrolls skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to me, the Fallout 3 felt nothing more just like a copy and paste of Elder Scrolls, but we're just different.
Yeah,
skin.
Yeah. See, I heard skit at first, and I was like, that's why I paused.
Thank you.
Skin, okay. Yeah, Fallout. It was a Fallout skin on Oblivion.
Like the components were there to have a great game. Like with the way how you shoot your opponents, it felt like it was like a virtual dice roll every time you hit an opponent or missed. You know what I mean? It felt fine tuned there.
All the D&D number crunching was there.
Exactly. Thank you for bringing it up. But just the overall experience, it did not feel like a Fallout game. It did not feel like its own thing. It felt like an Elder Scrolls thing. And don't get me wrong, I fucking love the franchise.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Don't get me wrong, and you're right, but I love the franchise.
Oh yeah,
but
I love Elder Scrolls.
It's a different IP. It should have its own identity. It should have its own feeling in regards to gameplay. I am hoping that's the reason why Obsidian has some part into the development. It's kind of like a co-developer, not the main developer, the co-developer. To bring up some this will be a good idea to bring it in to have that more feel of a tactical shooter. You know what I mean? Not like a Fallout first-person shooter, but more of like a tactical point of view. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Take some inspiration for Fallout Tactics, which I will say is one of the most underrated games in the franchise. But I feel like it needs to find its own way, its own identity to separate itself from Elder Scrolls. And don't get me wrong, I love both franchises, but there needs to be that bridge, that gap between those two, so they have their own separate identities rather than the concurrent bridge they already have. You know what I mean?
Yep.
What's something else that we can speculate on?
Now, we mentioned the map size as something we knew, but about the map I want to bring up was about how much of it is going to be straight up Boston, and how much is going to be neighboring Massachusetts towns. If you guys don't know, me and Jeff live in Massachusetts and have been to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been to Boston many times actually. But
oh yeah.
So we're kind of wondering how much of it's going to be like, oh crap, we know that place. Oh crap, look at how it looks nuked. Oof.
But
like people said that about DC in Part 3, that they live in DC, like, oh crap, I know that place.
That's true.
That's how it looks nuked.
Funny thing is that if you walk around actually in the actual Capital Wasteland, you can actually find a virtual representation of the actual studio of Bethesda Game Studio.
Oh yeah, because that's
in game, which I think is hilarious.
Also, New Vegas as well. Prim.
Oh yeah.
Prim is straight up Prim.
Oh, that's right.
The hotel there.
Mm-hmm.
And how crappy it is, because if you heard, I forgot, John Caparulo made a joke about Prim. He said, "Screw Prim," and I'm like, I get it. Even though you've been to the real Prim and I've only been to a nuked fake version, I still get what you mean.
Yeah.
And all the people from Prim just thumbed this down.
Yep. Pretty much.
All three.
Pretty much. But in regards to Fallout 4, in regards to the game's map, I think I feel like Boston will be the main hub, but there will be other locales around Boston, obviously,
do you
say.
It'll be in vanilla version, or do you think those locales will be DLC?
Locales, I think it'll be a mixture. I think there'll be a couple outside of Boston.
Some will be in vanilla already, that'll be outside, but more will be added?
Majority will be added DLC content, yeah.
Just remember, Pittsburgh was added as DLC.
One of the best DLCs I have saved from that game.
That one was good.
And I hope that's one that we do return to be honest.
I liked Point Lookout. I liked the Pit. Motherships. I don't even.
I think honestly, it's funny you bring it up because I think those are gonna be two locales post game launch that we'll see a return to through DLC.
I think Point, especially actually both have a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think about it.
Actually, you forgot one more that was kind of lackluster, and that was Operation Anchorage.
That
right?
was the one that was so lackluster. I forgot the name of it. Because I was trying to bring it up earlier, and I was like, what the frack was that one called? That boring one?
See, that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing about me. I'm not the biggest fan of Fallout 3. I like it for what it is. But I remember the first DLC pack the name. Yeah, it's my least favorite in the franchise.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I hope.
But in regards to DLC, like what we just talked about, I feel like it's gonna be a mixture. A majority of because it can't be Boston being the only location in game main.
Because they said it's gonna be bigger than Skyrim, and Boston is not a small town, but it's not.
No, I mean, have you seen?
It's not the size of.
I think the map size is gonna be a little bit larger than say Skyrim.
Yeah.
Because think about the Skyrim. Yeah, because Skyrim was released back in 2011. It was specifically made for not only PC at the time, but also for the consoles at that time too, which were the Xbox 360 and the PS3. And that game alone was approaching the power of those two consoles, respectively.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it was originally made. It's always originally made for the PC, but you get what I'm saying.
Right.
Fallout 4, on the other hand, it's going to be the same process. You know, even though these consoles are still technically new. You know what I mean? Hell, they still are brand new. I mean, they're like what, 2 year old now.
Yep.
And yeah, I just feel like that.
Yeah,
there's gonna be more. There has to be more content besides Boston.
Because I like I just told you, yeah, Philly is way bigger than Boston, and like I'm trying to think, like the size of Skyrim was about the size of, I think, maybe smaller than, probably as big as Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, what I'm saying is Boston's a big city, but for the map size they just claimed it has to have neighboring towns.
Of course, yes.
Or hopefully, maybe we get to see. You know, what'd be funny?
What?
This is an in-joke between me and Jeff, viewers.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he knows where I'm going. If you get to visit Springfield, Massachusetts, and you see how crappy it is in the game, and your character will go, wow, the bombs hit this place really hard, and then somebody just walks up and goes, bombs? What bombs?
You know, the sad thing is, I can actually see that happening. Even though we've been joking that for years, even before we started the GameRiffers. This is like going back to when we were still part of, when it was still then known as the Geek Fighters.
Yeah, the Geek Fighters, yep.
For the listeners who don't know, which is now RVT Entertainment, this is how long this has been an inside joke. Oh, God. I can actually see that happening. You know, after you say that, I want to see that more.
I know, me too.
The more you say that, the more I actually want to see that.
And you know what also I would love to see in a future game? I would love to see Chicago, because they've done Chicago before, but wasn't that for that game nobody liked?
Yes!
I would love to see Chicago, but in a good game, you know?
You're talking about that dungeon crawler, Brotherhood of Steel, right?
Brotherhood of Steel, yep. Hopefully, that's what I'm saying, I would like to see Chicago in a good game.
Hey, you know, I actually have to clarify something. A dungeon crawler Fallout is not a bad idea.
No,
like on paper, it's not bad.
Exactly.
But that game was horribly executed.
I remember seeing that game before I even knew what Fallout was, and I remember seeing it, and I'm going, like, the frack is this? Like, the Fallout franchise. And I'm like, well, I'm never playing this series.
Yeah, right enough. A couple years after that.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's the funny thing, I think you didn't know, was that was a time when Interplay was just doing console, because whoever was running Interplay at the time thought it was so much of a sweater that they just axed the entire PC development team and just making just nothing but console.
I love it. It says it right here on the wiki page for Brotherhood of Steel. Both Interplay and Bethesda considered the game to not be a part of Fallout's canon.
Even the original realizes how bad of a move it was. Think about that. As much.
Yeah, like I would love to see a Chicago. Well, anyways, back to the real game. It's just like
that's a good point. I'd like to see that too
in a proper Fallout.
Actually, there was one, and it was used in. Ironically enough, it's in its spiritual predecessor, Wasteland, but more in line with the unofficial sequel, Wasteland 2, from EA.
Ah, yes.
And that's Florida, because we never seen Florida in the Fallout franchise before, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm. We know some people from there. I wonder if it's the same thing. Like
but I feel like that's another interesting locale too.
People have been eating face since before that.
Yep. But yeah, like there's a lot of locales that we like to see in future installments, but specifically for Fallout 4. I feel like one of them realistically could be, for DLC, I could see realistically a return to Canada. Possibly Montreal, or probably one of the other.
Considering how close, if you guys don't know, we live in Massachusetts, not that far from Montreal. Not that far at all.
No. I can see one of the, for DLC, post DLC, I'd like to see one take place in New York City, like Times Squares.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a feeling like it'd be like New Vegas, Times Square, where like whoever was like the big cheese down there would be like, nope, I shot down the bombs, but everywhere else around it, like the other neighborhoods like Hell's Kitchen is still crappy.
Yeah, and you know what'd be funny? Was Dick Clark.
It'd be cool seeing a Fallout version of Daredevil, not Daredevil. They'll probably call him, just running around.
Yes, you know what they'll call him in that version?
Yeah. I
the
didn't
Jersey
think
Devil.
The what?
The Jersey Devil.
Ah. Remember that game?
Yep.
Anyway.
You know they're never you're never gonna bring that back, right?
No.
And didn't Sony say at their E3 2013 presser that the majority of the IPs from PlayStation 1 were going to make a return for PlayStation 4?
Yeah. Where's that?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Yeah, Sony.
Where's Crash?
Give me some more Gex. I want that.
Yo,
then again, that's Square, but
legit,
still.
I would love to see that. Well, Crash is Activision.
No, I was saying Gex was.
I know. I was just saying, like, also.
I know you're bringing it up, but that's another topic. That's for post E3.
Yeah.
This is Fallout 4 stuff, and another one in regards to DLC post game. There was one I like to see too. I could see it also taking place in a location in Connecticut.
Oh, definitely.
Or even in Maine too.
Frack, Connecticut's right there.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I grew up in Connecticut, so
mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's weird. I realize I know more about Connecticut than I do Massachusetts, actually, despite the fact that I lived here longer. But
yeah.
But we were talking about DLC and stuff. I just thought about weapons and junk like that.
I do feel like the Fat Man's gonna make a return, obviously. And for the obvious Japanese release, they're gonna change it to something more obviously PC because of reasons.
You know what it'd be called?
What?
Remember Nothing.
No, you know what it'd be called? Remember Me?
It's already out.
See, that's where the irony comes in, because that was published by Capcom.
That's funny. People crapped on that. It wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't bad. I actually enjoyed it for what it was.
It's one of those games that I like to compare it to Rocksteady. Their first game was lackluster, but it was good. There were some good points, but they got much better.
Oh yeah, true.
It's in the same thing with Dope Nuts First Century.
Try to think what else can we think of that we want to see in the game that we haven't talked. We're on the weapons. You know what I want to see?
What?
You mentioned weapons. I want to see a character that could actually be a viable build. That's a melee specialist.
Oh, like actually, like more customization, like more RPG elements.
Yeah, because in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, you can go melee, but boy, you're gonna get whooped.
Oh yeah.
I like to see it be viable this time, like
oh, definitely,
to actually be truly RPG like and say, okay, you want to play like this, here's your points you can do, and you can actually do some damage with a melee weapon or with a power fist and stuff like that.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think that's where, in regards to speculation, I think that's what they were teasing in the world premiere trailer for the game 2 days ago, because when you saw the Brotherhood of Steel armor, it looked like it was customizable from the way it was structured.
Yeah, especially that part in the garage, right?
Yeah.
It looked like you could add parts and stuff to it, yeah. Which made my Gundam fanboy inside of me like a little happy.
Yep.
I was like, oh snap, Fallout Gunpla. Let's do this model kit. All right.
Oh god. And I can actually see you getting that hyped.
Oh my god, can you imagine? Like, Jerry, what are you doing? You've been playing the story. Nope, I'm just upgrading this power armor.
I can actually see that. But Bethesda, if you're listening, please don't make that a thing. I'm just saying it for your sake, dude.
Oh, for my time, yeah.
Yes. But in regards to that, a little extras I like to see. Since they recently had re-releases, I like to see. I actually like to see actual HD re-releases, like actual HD remasters of the first two. Not on console, but on PC at least. Because I don't know about you, but Fallout 1 and 2's in-game graphics... Oh.
Well, I mentioned how they were like that so they could run on...
Yeah, it made sense back then, but for now...
Yeah. Oh, boy. They look like action figures that you're just playing with, and
like melted action figures.
Melted. Excuse me. True though. In a Matchbox playset.
Oh god. I got that on my system. Sorry about that. But yeah, like in regards to Fallout 4, like we stated earlier in the start of this episode, we really don't know a lot, and we won't know more until this Sunday. With regards to Bethesda's first ever E3 presser, so it's going to be interesting to see what we know and what we're going to eventually find out about the upcoming game. And if there's one thing I have to say that I'm hoping. We already know that's not we already know it's not a cross-gen game, and I'm really thankful for that. I really am, because, here it doesn't make sense, but I will say overseas in Japan, it makes sense, because I don't know about you, and I just want to bring this up, that, people have been making fun of the Xbox One sales numbers in Japan. Yeah, have you seen the sales numbers for both the Wii U and the PS4? They've been... They're doing better, but I think all three are doing lackluster in Japan because of how the structure
in Japan,
has changed. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, they think I don't understand.
They feel for them that mobile is more accessible than console. You know what I mean?
It's just like when I go, it's like, Japan, please play real games. Well, not real games, but. Remember the console games and the PC games, so that way we don't.
You just want to say Japan. There are other ways to play games. Utilize them.
The only reason I bring that up, in the way I'm saying it, is because the games made from your country, they're looking at you playing this, and you're kind of dragging us with you. It's like we don't care if you play mobile, really, technically. Mm. But because you are, that's all they want to make, and we don't want to play that.
It's like what we recently saw of the whole shebang that was the Konami controversy, because, and yes, you can say controversy with a K, even though it only works with freaking Mortal Kombat, besides the points. There was a lot of speculation going around, a lot of where we're going around in regards to Konami saying that they were only going to be focusing on mobile. Which I can see working for some IPs, but not all the IPs that they not only own, but they acquired throughout the years. You know what I mean? But going back to us on our end, like, for cross-gen, I'm glad it's not here. That's what I just want to say, because that's why I wanted to originally bring it up, because the sales over here have done better on both the Xbox One and PS4 side, and even for the Wii U. Even though the game's not coming out for the Wii U, like, consoles have been doing better here in Europe. But I'm glad that they decided not to do cross-gen, but there's one thing I would like to be announced. And since this game has been technically been in development for years, even after Fallout 3's original launch, I want the game to come out this fall. Or at least holiday 2015. Because this game has been in development, like I just said, for 4 years, right?
At least.
Like, okay, Skyrim, if I recall, that was originally announced at Game Awards, the VGA's 2010, right?
Yes, 2010.
And it came out in 2012, right?
Came out late 2011. Almost.
Oh, late 2011. So almost 2012. But still, that was technically a year and a half after its announcement that it came out.
Yeah.
I'm hoping still that comes out this year. And I know people are saying it's crowded enough as it is. If that's the case,
but it's more crowded. 2016
next year,
March.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, imagine it coming out freaking March 2016. Jeez.
Oh, you just got a couple games. One of them being Uncharted. No biggie, right?
It wouldn't be a big. It wouldn't be a big deal if it. Here's the thing, and it's funny you bring it up because remember the rumor going around that Call of Duty's marketing is going to be on PlayStation now. I don't know if people have pointed this out, but I don't know if you saw this too, Jerry. You saw how the consoles were listed, right?
Uh-huh.
You saw how the Xbox One was first, right?
Uh-huh.
How would you feel if the DLC was first for Xbox?
I wouldn't mind so much, because if it's timed, I wouldn't mind.
Like how it was last time, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing:
if they said completely not even timed, then I'd be
I would too. But here's the thing: I feel like that's a great trade-in because the further Microsoft is away from freaking Call of Duty, the better for their image. Then again, I would say that for any of the big three, to be honest.
Yep.
But like for Microsoft, because they've been always associated as the dude bro console. You know what I mean? Them getting rid of Call of Duty's marketing, if that is true. And if they actually put that money towards the marketing for timed in regards to Fallout 4, I think that's better for their view as a console manufacturer. You know what I mean? Because let's face facts, they've been, besides Nintendo, they've been the actual punching bag of the industry since 2013, right?
Yeah, since they did, hey, TV and sports.
Yeah, because that's the funny thing.
What video games? No, we got video games, they said a couple months later.
But you still
But
suck.
at that time, yeah, it unfortunately still kept still in their mind from when they did that.
Well, to be fair, it was the same way of how Sony was back in 2007 or 2006 when they first revealed
$599 US.
Yeah, and that really did hurt them throughout the generation, but that's the thing.
That's a joke, right? What joke? Oh.
Yeah, exactly. It was a joke back then. It's outdated as hell now. You know what I mean? That was the freaking past. That's one thing that I just want to bring up that just, irks me in regards to game industry and just gamers in general. You know what I mean?
Alright, so...
But I think that's it, right? That's all we can talk about in regards to Fallout 4. And again, I want to apologize for the long pauses, ladies and gentlemen. But
that's out of our hands.
It's better now, but when we were recording this episode for you guys earlier, it was bad on our end outside. But what did you want to say to wrap up, Jerry?
Oh, watch us be wrong or right this weekend.
50-50. There's always a possibility we could be half right, half wrong.
Well, yeah. Let's see how wrong or right we were this weekend.
Yeah.
And I gotta record. Now I gotta record gameplay. It's usually double R.
I know.
I don't even have games to record for that long. What do I do? I'll find something. I hope. Because I'm also supposed to, if you guys don't know, I'm also an artist and stuff, so I also gotta make graphics and stuff. So, hopefully I find the time to put this up. I might just put a picture and say it's done. I really might.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised. Because, you're getting our stream this weekend, so, if this Riff Table Arcade is just a picture, you get the stream.
That's the thing we're more concerned of right now.
That's the only reason why you would just get a picture. It's just because we're concerned with our E3 stream being as awesome as it can be, and we are focusing so much into that. Matter of fact, we weren't even going to record this. So. Yep,
until this was brought up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's all I got. To wrap up, I'm just going to plug.
Yeah.
Twitter at Ikari Radio, IKARIRADIO. FighterXaos, FIGHTER. Fighter, you know how you spell fighter. And then xaos.deviantart.com. And from there, you'll see links to my webcomic on Tapastic. And I think that's it from me.
Well, For me, you can
Right, Broken Infinite.
Yeah, well, thank you. I occasionally, even though I've been on a little hiatus with this site, I do articles on sporadic occasion for the Broken Infinite, and you can check those out at www.thebrokeninfinite.com. You can follow me on Twitter at 16bitjeff, twitter.com/16bitjeff. And you can also check our stuff for the GameRiffers through youtube.com/GameRiffers. That's the channel where you can see this episode and previous episodes of both the Riff Table Arcade and our various Let's Plays. And currently the one we're doing right now, which is Thousand Arms,
By the
which
way,
is concurrently...
That is, go ahead.
No, it's concurrently on hiatus now because, like I said, because of E3, but we will return it once E3 is done and over with.
We already actually do have the footage recorded.
Yep. So stay tuned post E3 for more episodes on that. Mm-hmm. And if you want to follow any updates in regards to the upcoming E3 stream or any of the streams that we do besides E3, like later in December for the Game Awards like we did last year, check it out at twitter.com/TheGameRiffers.
Oh, you did it for me.
Yep. As for this week, I hope you guys like this episode. I'll leave a comment on what you think is going to be potentially true in regards to Fallout 4. What would you like to see in Fallout 4? And I hope you guys like E3 next week. And if you want to, as shameless plugging, check out our stream over at twitch.com/TheGameRiffers. And also twitch.tv. Thank you. And please, in regards to the comments, we say this every time, but keep it civil, keep it gaming. We don't want all this, war between consoles going on.
Unless you're from Prim.
And on that note, I'm 16-Bit Jeff.
And I'm FighterXaos.
And we'll see you next time on Riff Table Arcade. Later.